Good afternoon, I'm Jackie Spate with this special update on Tropical Cyclone Winston. The Nandi Weather Office has urged all Fijians not to be complacent and to be prepared as severe tropical cyclone Winston has now entered the Fiji group. Director Weather Ravin Kumar says the system has winds of up to 250 kilometers per hour at the center and gusts up to 350 kilometers per hour. Madhyam Bolaitamana has more.
As of 10 a.m. today, severe tropical cyclone Winston, a Category 5 system, was located about 50 kilometers east-southeast of Taveuni, moving towards the two main islands.
This morning at 7 a.m., the report that came from the Vanuatu was that 99 knot was recorded at that time. So you can imagine the strength of the winds the tropical cyclone Winston has, and the strength of these winds is slowly going to spread to the rest of the populated areas, especially on the Vanuatu and Viti level.
Due to the high pressure to the south of Fiji, tropical cyclone Winston changed track overnight and has moved further north of its projected track. However, be as it may, the sheer magnitude of the system means that the whole of Fiji will be affected in the coming hours.
In the Category 5 systems, just likes of tropical cyclone Oscar, tropical cyclone Bibi, more in the recent decade was the tropical cyclone Amy, and just last year tropical cyclone Pam. So these are all comparable tropical cyclones in terms of its category and the wind strength that is currently being experienced. So on the path of its the destruction that we may see can be comparable with these historical tropical cyclones.
The Weather Office has stressed that Fijians must act now while there is still time.
And the advice to the people is that please be prepared at all times and be prepared to embrace these destructive storm force to hurricane force winds as the cyclone draws closer.
Stay tuned to our next bulletin at 3 p.m. for the latest from the Weather Office. Madhyam Bolaitamana, FBC News.
And a quick recap of Tropical Cyclone Winston. A hurricane warning remains in force for Vanuatu, Yavata, Mango, Vivia, Tuvuda, Nayau, Koro, Ngau, Vanuatu, Taveuni, Gamea, Laudala, Ovalau, Wakaya and Vanuatu. A storm warning remains in force for Lakemba, Oneata, Mode, Como, Namuka, Ongea, Moala, Vitilevu, Yasawa and Mamanu the group. A gale warning remains in force for the rest of Fiji. A damaging heavy swell warning remains in force for low-lying coastal areas of Fiji. A heavy rain warning remains in force for Fiji. Severe tropical cyclone Winston Category 5 was located 50 kilometers east-southeast Taveuni, or about 250 kilometers east-northeast of Suva at 9 a.m. today. The cyclone is moving west at about 25 kilometers an hour. Close to its center, the cyclone is estimated to have average winds of 220 kilometers an hour and momentary gusts to 315 kilometers an hour. On this track, the cyclone is expected to be located about 155 kilometers west of Taveuni, or about 130 kilometers north of Suva at 9 p.m. today, and about 316 kilometers west of Taveuni, or about 170 kilometers northwest of Suva at 9 a.m. tomorrow. Preparations in Northern Division have already begun as residents brace for Tropical Cyclone Winston. Lambasa is experiencing heavy rain. The Commissioner Northern's office has directed that Lambasa and Savusavu town are closed by 2 p.m. All public transport must cease this hour. Tropical Cyclone Winston is expected to reach Vanuatu by 3 p.m.
Tropical cyclone Winston is expected to hit the Northern Division at around 3 p.m. today, and all the divisional and district emergency operations centers have been evacuated. Taveuni is currently feeling the full brunt of the wind and rain. Savusavu, on the other hand, is also feeling the strong wind and rain. And here in Lambasa, the rain continues to pour and the wind can also be felt. In a briefing a while ago with the Commissioner Northern Chovesa over there, he announced that the Lambasa and Savusavu towns will be closed at 2 p.m. today. So no one, even public service vehicles or private vehicles, are to be seen in town at the time. Police are on standby. They will be monitoring the situation in town as well as the security aspect of it. Some evacuation centers have also been identified and are now open. There are altogether 210 evacuation centers in the Northern Division. So far, 3 families are now sheltering at one of the evacuation centers in Bua at Ratu Luke Memorial School.
The National Disaster Management Office has been on 24-hour operation for the last few days. Aliki Mbi is standing by live at the DISMAC office. Aliki, how are emergency agencies responding?
Jackie, at the moment, all emergency department, including the Honorable Prime Minister Worengimbaini Marama, are currently in a meeting discussing situations report that have been received so far by DISMAC office from all over the country. And from what we have received, from the information that we have received, over 700 evacuation centres have been evacuated all over the country, and DISMAC is pleading to all Fijians to take the necessary precautions to avoid loss of life. And in the next hour or so, after this meeting, they will be able to release information on all the situation report, from all over the country, from the places that have been hit by Tropical Cyclone Winston. Jackie.
Thanks so much for that update, Aliki. Tropical Cyclone Winston is passing over the island of Taveuni. Reports from residents on the island have indicated that they are experiencing destructive winds and torrential heavy downpour. You are seeing footage from Waievo in Taveuni as Tropical Cyclone Winston passes through the southern tip of the island. Trees have been uprooted and wind speeds have picked up since this morning. Close to its center, Tropical Cyclone Winston has winds averaging 220 kilometers an hour and monetary gusts of 315 kilometers an hour. Farms in Nakeleanga in Kambara in the Lau Group have been damaged by strong winds which affected the island since last night. Villager Samuela Naivaurerenga told FBC News that people living near the coastal areas have been evacuated to Nakeleanga District School for fear of flooding. A few villagers have decided to stay with other families. Naivaurerenga says all boats have moved inland and tied down before the seas got rough. Strong winds and rough seas still continue to affect parts of the Lau Group. The Fiji Roads Authority is expecting significant damage to its road infrastructure during Tropical Cyclone Winston. In a media statement, the FRA says its contractors will commence cleanup, repairs and inspections once the immediate threat has passed. Most motorists are advised to stay cautious if they are out on the roads. And that was your special update on Tropical Cyclone Winston. We will bring another update at 3 p.m. Remember, you can tune in to any of our 6 stations for hourly updates. If you are living in an area that is being affected by strong winds and rain, try to send us your pictures and videos on FBC News at fbc.com.fj. We also have emergency contact numbers and lists of all evacuation centers on our website, www.fbc.com.fj. I'm Jackie Spate. Bye for now and stay safe.